Happy Travel Tuesday. I figured that since this is a podcast geared toward entrepreneurial millennials, and I have all of the travel stories for you, I'm going to start sharing about my travels, but from the lens of remote work. So this will be the first installment of Travel Tuesday. I don't know that they'll always happen on a Tuesday, but it's Tuesday today. Also, I realized, oh my God, if you're watching on YouTube, then you see me rubbing this ice cube on my face. It's aloe blended with oregano oil, just a few drops because it's spicy, and a cucumber, a peeled cucumber. And then I just freeze it and do this. Oh my God, it feels so good. And I'm so inflamed from from 3 weekends in a row of liquor is why I'm inflamed, if we're keeping it honest. Okay. Oh, I said that for a reason though. I'm doing beauty treatments every time we sit down, or at least every time I sit down to record these, I think. That's going to be my motive, my mission. And that is the perfect example of wanting to be consistent with something new and fitting it into your life in a seamless way, or at least trying to be as seamless as possible. For me, I love taking time throughout my day to just, do something to my face. So I feel incentivized to sit down and record this while also rubbing an ice cube on my face. Why not? So yeah, shout out to habit stacking. Okay, Bali. Let's talk about Bali. So I feel like I've been to Bali, I think 3 times. Yeah, I want to say 3 times. I've been there for maybe like a month each time. Or I think the first time I was there for 2 months. I don't know. The first time I went to Bali was when I like officially became a digital nomad. That year, it was 2016 then. If I had just become official. So it was 2016. That April, I had moved to Koh Phangan, Thailand to manage a yoga studio. My bosses were crazy, but that's part of the Thailand story. We'll save that. But basically, I booked a trip to go to Bali, and it was my first time, travel. I think it was my first time traveling solo. Yeah, other than when I went to study abroad, but I had friends in my class that went to study abroad as well in France. Yeah. So that was my first solo trip, was to Bali. Wow. I had so much fun. I was there again for like 6 weeks. I remember I was teaching English online. Shout out to VIP Kid. Actually, no, fuck VIP Kid, because they fired me for no fucking reason. And I didn't even get to say bye to my kids. There's one, Emily. I think about her weekly. I miss her so much. Like the fact that don't even get me started. I don't think this Chinese baby, Emily, who's probably a woman now, a full woman, will ever hear this. But man, I miss you if you ever hear this. I was so proud. Oh my gosh, she was... Emily. Anyway, so I was teaching with VIP Kid. The Wi-Fi was definitely wild, so that's crazy that I was able to maintain that. But I would just do back to back classes because I was by myself. So I would just beast, and like as many classes as I could get, I would take. And I remember I stayed in like just more, not hostels. Like I still had hostel vibes. I remember I always had a private room. That was my thing. When I used to stay in hostels, for the most part, I was definitely a very broke backpacker. But at that point, again, I'm in Bali. And this is 2016, okay? People talk about Bali prices now. This is 2016 prices. And I wasn't staying in the mix necessarily. Because if I travel solo, I like to be with the locals as much as possible. And like I don't want to be near tourists. If I want to be near Americans, I'll just be here. You feel me? And so, I don't know. I was probably paying $10 a night. I had my private room. I had breakfast included. I remember one of the spots I stayed at. Oh my God. I stayed in like this tree house. I still have the picture. I stayed in a tree house overlooking like rice fields. There was a pool. There were a bunch of Russians staying there. They did not like me. That was when I knew I have no desire to ever go to Russia. I remember those people, specifically this particular woman. I said, oh yeah, nah. It was such a great trip. It was my first time I'm on a motorbike, by myself. No one knows where I am unless I tell them. I'm talking to locals on the side of the road. I remember this Balinese woman stopped me. Oh no, I went to go get vegetables, and she was on the side of the road selling. So I went to her, and she didn't speak English, but she said, Trump? I said, no. She said, oh, Obama? I said, yeah. She said, okay. So basically she was like checking, like, isn't that crazy though? Was Trump that long ago? 2016 is 20. Yeah, that was 8 years ago. Yeah. It was that long ago, because when Trump won, I was in Malaysia. Oh my God. It's also another, again, stories on stories. I forgot about that. Do you remember where you were when Trump won? Yeah, Trump had just won. And so she was basically vetting me, asking like, hey, are we good? And I'm like, yeah, we good. Because Trump, Muslims don't take to Trump very well, or rather he doesn't take to them well. And Indonesia has the highest number of Muslims out of any country in the world. Anyway, the people were a vibe. I was just having the time of my life. I remember I would go to the corner store, even I was in like a local area. This is throwback. This is 2016. I can't stress enough. I would go to buy a beer before I knew I was gluten intolerant. I would go buy beers and I would be like, how come I don't feel anything? Where's the buzz? Because they were non-alcoholic beers, bruh. Because I'm in Bali and they're non-alcoholic beers. Now you can probably get whatever you want at the store. But back then, hell no. So anyway, first time I went, I loved it. So that was 2016. 2017, cool, traveled. I went back to Bali actually at the end of 2017. So the first time I went was like October 2016. I went back December 2018 because I got my dream job. If you were there, you remember. Shout out to WeRoom. Well, RIP to WeRoom. I wonder if I can tell the WeRoom story publicly. It was a huge thing at that time. It was in Bloomberg. But I don't know if I signed an NDA. I feel like I did, but do NDAs expire? Because that was 2018. I'm going to look into this because if I can, I want to tell you everything that happened. This shit was crazy. Anyway, RIP WeRoom. But I had secured my dream job. I remember I had my interview with the owner of the company while I was in Berlin. And I don't even know how I got to Berlin. Oh, yeah, this is a different year. So I'm in Berlin. I interviewed this guy. He loves me, basically hired me on the spot. I go back to the States for Thanksgiving. And then I go back knowing that I'm about to dip out and go to Bali and move to Bali to have my dream job as a trip leader. And I would basically lead 30 adult children who were remote workers. So this is like early digital nomad days. They would petition their companies, their employers to let them come travel with us. A few of them worked for themselves, but for the most part, everyone was employed. So it was like 30 adults, anywhere from like 30 to 45-ish. And I would take them I had a co-trip leader or whatever, and we would go to a different country every month. And so I was their mom, basically. It was a crazy time, but also one of the best jobs of my life. So Bali was our first stop. So I meet everyone. And because it was a group trip like that, we were in the mix. We were in Canggu, but we were like in Canggu. And again, I don't like to be in it like that. Also, something to know about Bali, if you don't know, it's just Australian heavy. And personally, I just don't see the point in traveling somewhere to intentionally be around a bunch of white men. Like, there are a bunch of Australians. Like, it's Australian overload. And I don't understand why I would go somewhere to be surrounded by a bunch of white men. The locals, on the other hand, are a vibe. But what rubs me really wrong about Bali was that the only time I felt I was able, other than a handful of times, the only time I was able to interact with locals was when they were serving me. I don't like that. That don't feel right to me. So I had no Balinese friends. And usually everywhere I go, I always have like a local that's like my plug. You know what I mean? Bali was actually the only place I feel like I didn't have that. Oh, no, I did. He was our driver. What was his name again with a D? He loved me. Oh, my God. We would just drive around. He would just take me to run. I had a driver. Let me just say that, okay? I had a driver. And he would just take me to run like errands and take care of things for the company. Yeah, what a time. I can't believe this was my life. So anyway, that was my second or third vision of Bali, and it did not hit the same because at this point it's like a year and change later. Bali has changed so much with all the tourism because it's not equipped to handle it. The roads are crazy. The traffic's crazy. There are accidents all the time because people don't know how to drive motorbikes. I even had to teach a bunch of people on the trip how to drive a motorbike, and then they would crash, and then I'm their trip leader, so I have to go find them in the middle of the street. And I remember one, oh, this sweet little woman. Oh man, she crashed her motorbike, and luckily, Balinese people, Indonesians, actually I can't say, we'll say Balinese. Culturally, it feels very different. Balinese people are so sweet, so they like rush to her. She's on the side of the road. She's with a Balinese mom, basically her grandma. She's taking care of her. They put her in my care, basically. She's bleeding, and I think I was just laying in bed. And then like, this is my job though. I have to go. Oh my God, I also hurt myself. Let me tell you. Side note. Let me tell you about the time I almost suffocated myself to death. Okay, this is when I started going heavy on Instagram stories, actually, and like started building a brand around myself and sharing that part of me on Instagram stories. And I remember I Instagrammed this whole thing that I'm about to tell you. So I'm in my room. I, like a dumbass, which I do not call myself a dumbass. I was a dumbass. I left out like honey or something. I'm in Bali. So there's a trail of ants through my hotel door. They're coming under the door or like through the crack. It's just never ending. Like it's swarm. My desk is covered in ants. The ants are just nonstop. They told their cousins, they told friends around from the block, they told everyone. They sent out a newsletter. They said, come get this honey. So I got like a spray. I think it was in my bathroom or something. I don't even know where. Oh my God, it was bug spray, I think. So I had bug spray because I'm in Bali. And I sprayed the fuck out of these ants. I said absolutely not. So I sprayed the honey. I sprayed the ants. I sprayed the trail. I sprayed the door. I sprayed everything. And I was coughing a little bit, but I sprayed everything. I wonder if it had DEET. Is DEET the illegal thing? I don't know. But you know that ingredient or whatever that you can't have? Whatever it had. I sprayed all of that. And it's a very small room. And then I knocked out. I went to sleep. So I woke up the next day. I remember I was coughing throughout the night. I was wheezing, like gasping for air throughout the night. I woke up the next morning. I cannot breathe. Like it takes, and I've had bronchitis a lot. I could hardly walk like a centimeter with like just trying to catch my breath. So I find a hospital. This is about safe. This is for a reason. This is about Safety Wing. Cause I'm about to tell you, I'm a Safety Wing affiliate. This is when I fell in love with Safety Wing. So I had Safety Wing because my company, We Roam, they got it for all of the employees. This is my first time having travel insurance because I'm American. What's insurance? You know, I'm fine. I'll pay out of pocket. It'll still be cheaper than in America. And so they got us all Safety Wing. I said, whatever, I probably won't even use it. So I make it to the bike. On a motorbike, I drive myself to a hospital. I can hardly breathe. I get in there. They take my vitals. My oxygen is like, I think basically no oxygen is flowing through my body right now. They're like, how are you even here? I said, I don't know. And I had to get, you guys, a steroid shot in my thigh muscle. Okay. Because that's how, was it a steroid? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a steroid because that's how low my oxygen levels were. So it's like I think they said they did it because they had to open up my like blood vessels or whatever, because they tried a few things. I think I did like 2 or 3 nebulizers first and they're like, this is not working. We're going to have to do it this way. And they did. And then I think I got some medications or whatever. But I remember that with all of the medications, I was in that hospital for like 8 hours, steroid shot in my thigh. And then again, the medications, with all of that, it came to like $127. Like, and then I remember that I had Safety Wing because We Roam got it for all of us. I submitted the receipt to Safety Wing and it was reimbursed in like 5 days. Boom. Also Safety Wing, shout out to you, because also I was in Argentina and I needed, cause we went there in April of that year. We were on a trip and I needed contacts. Safety Wing covered my contacts, covered a whole new set of contacts and my eye exam. So yeah, all that to say, I love Safety Wing. I recommend it for all of the women who come on my retreats. I've had such a great, wonderful experience with them. The customer service, top notch. But anyway, back to Bali. So all that to say, I think Bali is for a very specific person. Because to be honest with you, a lot of the women that I know who are more just my vibe, like a very chill, I don't know how to describe it, but the women that I know who are like me don't like Bali. And I don't even say anything. They say it first. They're like, no, I don't like Bali. And I'm like, wow. So it's definitely for a certain person. I don't think it's necessarily like a racial thing, especially as a Black person. You will be welcomed. You will be loved. You will be loved all throughout Southeast Asia, man. I got treated like, I miss it every day. They love them some chocolate, let me tell you, especially in Cambodia and Thailand because they're darker too, a lot of them. Oh, my God. Bali is just for a certain person, and I don't want to say it's for a vanilla person, but it's for a vanilla person. It's for someone who, if I'm being real, Bali is for someone who wants to front like they were in it, but they weren't in it. You know what I mean? I've been in the middle of like Cambodian forests, you know? I've been in it. Bali is the perfect place for someone who wants to like, I'm here. Or alternatively, you want to go get like, you want to go on a retreat. You want to do yoga vibes, you know, things like that. But again, I wouldn't go there for nourishment. It's so loud. The food's good. And the people are top 3 sweetest humans in the entire world. So the locals, if you're going strictly for Balinese people, go. They are everything. They're some of the best people I've ever met in my life. But in terms of the vibe, it doesn't appeal to me. It's very cookie cutter, a lot of pizza spots, and just there's no culture. I feel like I'm just going to be around a bunch of Westerners in a foreign land. I'm flying to Southeast Asia to be surrounded by people that come from the quote unquote West. And that's not what I travel for. So yeah, would I go back to Bali? I would go back to Bali if it were for like work things. So if someone paid me to go, or if I was hosting, I wouldn't host a retreat there. So I don't even know why I'm saying that. But if someone paid me to go to Bali or to lead a trip or something, let's manifest that. Sure, I'm down. Then why not? But otherwise, to be honest, I have no desire to ever go back. If you know about my travels and you have a specific request about somewhere I've been and you want to hear what it's like to work from that place. Oh, side note, if you are interested in working from Bali as a digital nomad or just working remotely going on a trip, I would recommend it. The co-working spaces are fire. I actually worked for one. It's called Outpost, and they had a Cambodian branch. That's why I moved to Cambodia, was to manage that branch of their company for like 6 months. But I would recommend it if you are going to be around, especially if you are an entrepreneur and you want to go be around people who are going to stretch your mindset, I will give them this. If you want to go around people who are going to stretch your mindset and push you to do more and to put in some extra work, then that's the place to go. I think out of all the places I've been to, honestly, like top 3 in regards to like hustlers, people who are ready to grind. Co-working spaces open 24 hours. You won't be alone working until 1 a.m., building your brand, building your business. If you want that type of energy, or even like if you wanted to do like a 30-day, business boot camp for yourself, I will go there. Actually, that would be the reason why I go back to Bali. If I ever go back, it would be for that. I just want it to be around like-minded, like business owners who are in a season of grind, which I love so much. So yeah. Otherwise, we'll see if I go back. Yeah. So if you have any requests about other places I've been, please let me know. There's a question in the comments if you are listening on Spotify. And until next time, stay kind.